What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and Brandon Scott. The Washington Wizards lose at home to the Houston Rockets. Julian Champagnie has a good game, and Jalen Green ends up getting a career high. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and Brandon Scott. We're going to recap the game today. The Washington Wizards lose again at home, 137 to 114 against the Houston Rockets. Brandon, what was your thoughts on this game and just who from the young guys stood out? Because at this point, honestly, it's not about really wins and losses at all. I think we've gone past that part. It's just about looking at some of the young guys and just evaluating, between Champagnie, Jared Butler, Johnny Davis as well, and Pat Baldwin. But what were your thoughts about some of the young guys out there?
Kind of looking at the game, man. I mean, it's really not much. Yeah, I mean, it's not really much to talk about. I mean, clear talent gap. I mean, Houston's just that team where, in my opinion, there are a few pieces from challenging in the West 1 or 2 years from now, in my opinion. But talent gap was just, I mean, Jalen Green he scored 42 and it made it look easy. I mean, he ain't played the last 10 minutes. So, Jalen Green's just that score, man. And but looking at the young guys, overall, I did like what I saw mostly from the young guys. Now, there were some bad moments. We're going to start with the first bad moment. Jordan Poole, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, but shot 5 for 18 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. So very inefficient. Been the MO most of the year. Inefficiency has been something that's plagued Jordan Poole. And the excuses are out the window now because he started. So, I mean, for everybody who wanted him to start at point guard, boom, there you go. And, it's just inefficient. And that's been the MO with him all year long. Johnny Davis. Before we get into the good, let's get into the bad. Johnny Davis. Now, me and you both have been big advocates for Johnny Davis all year long. Lord have mercy, probably for the last 2 years. We've come up with excuse after excuse for the kid. Give him minutes. He's got to capitalize. But, I mean, I've seen enough, I mean, tonight, he got 27 minutes, 2 points, shooting 1 for 7. I mean, he got a layup blocked. I mean, he's still airballing shots. I mean, I'm going to call it like it is, man. His ceiling is G League. I mean, I try to be an advocate. I look at this from the perspective that I want to see everybody on the team succeed. I'm a fan. I definitely want to see everybody succeed, but he just ain't it. I mean, we need to go ahead and call it. We missed on the pick. We missed on the 10th overall pick. We missed because, I mean, it's just I don't know where his head's at on the court, man. I mean, airballing. He's just his biggest asset was defense, and the defense was terrible tonight. So I don't know where his head's at, and quite frankly, man, he's got to the end of the year to prove to the Wizards or to the rest of the league that he even belongs in the NBA, in my opinion. Because right now, he looks like a G League player. He had moments in G League where he was dominant, and he's just not looking that good in the NBA, man. And I said it time and time again. You can blame the organization all you want, but when you're given minutes, we advocate for him to get the start. He got the start at 2 guard and still stunk it up. So I've seen enough. I mean, I'm hoping he wows me, but at this point, he is what he is, man. Johnny Davis is what he is. He's a mispick. I had to call him a bust, but I'm gonna call him a bust. I mean, right now, it is what it is. He's a bust because you're 10th overall pick and 2 points. You still airballing jumpers? Nah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on, man. Corey Kispert, good first half. Second half, not so much, but he got 16 points in 35 minutes, shooting 6 for 11, 4 for 7 for 3. So we know what Corey Kispert does. He's a sniper, shooting 4 for 7 for 3. Patrick Baldwin Jr., pretty good performance, in my opinion. We always get on him about finding other ways to contribute. He did that 7 boards tonight, 12 points, shooting 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. And Rashawn Holmes messed up my daggone PrizePicks because I thought he was going to get less than 9 rebounds. He had a good night. So, but, hey, it is what it is, man. He had a pretty good night, 12 points, 9 rebounds, shooting 4 for 5 from the field, including 4 for 4 from the charity strike, including the block and the steal. So the starting 5 was decent. Jordan Poole, inefficient. Try to do a little too much at times. Johnny Davis, not just a non-factor, and Corey Kispert, good first half, wanting more from the second, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. and Sean Holmes, decent overall. Now, looking at the second unit, we got a couple guys on the second unit that need extended looks. Justin Champagnie is a keeper. 16 points, 8 rebounds, shooting 4 for 9 for the field, 2 for 6 from 3, 6 for 6 from the charity strike, and 2 steals. Champagnie, man, needs to get an extended look in the second half of the year. We need to see if we can find a place for him on this team next year, man, because in my opinion, he has definitely earned a spot on this team. You can say the same about Jules Bernard. In 18 minutes, 16 points, shooting 6 for 11. And that's why we said, I'm not going to harp on Johnny Davis, man, but look at it. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. 27 minutes, he got 2 points, as opposed to in 18 minutes, Jules Bernard got 16 points. Champagnie in 31 minutes got 16. So, the proof is in the pudding with that. Jared Butler, really good game, but inefficient as far as shooting. And I felt like he tried to do a little too much at times, but 15 points, 9 assists, 3 rebounds, but shooting 7 for 19 from the field. And Anthony Gill, our player coach, man. He's continued to provide good minutes off the bench. 12 points, 8 rebounds, shooting 5 for 9, including 2 for 3 from 3. So, yeah, you saw glimpses of potential for him, a lot of these young guys on his roster, but ultimately came down to a talent gap. Houston's just a better team. And, looking at, Jordan Poole, he's got to show up being inefficient, man. He definitely, I think his best spot is 6-man going forward. Obviously, with injuries, he's forced to be that starter, but, he's just inefficient. There's been a problem all year long. And Johnny Davis, I've seen enough, man. So,
yeah, I hate to say it, but for him to go 27 minutes with 2 points in a game where he finally gets the opportunity to start, it's just a struggle. And you just see where his game just doesn't he's having a hard time for his game to translate to the NBA. He got to the basket one time, got blocked by Arsar Thompson for the Rockets, and it's kind of just like the athleticism just hasn't translated. Him using his body, just creating separation. It's just all the things that we've seen from that first summer league game last year, where he couldn't create separation, couldn't knock down a three, couldn't knock down open shots, just didn't have a counter move to get open. Just a lot of those glaring weaknesses that have happened. I did think that he played hard with intensity on the defensive end, but even that was just not enough. It's not like, he wasn't only a guy that was getting torched by Jalen Green. Jalen Green put up 42 points. Jalen Green started the game off, he was like 4 for 4. Him and Corey started the game off like really hot. Yeah. Corey started off really hot. Jalen Green started off really hot. But Johnny, he just has a long way to go. And these last couple of games, I would just let him rock out, just let him just see what he can do. But honestly, when you got guys coming in like Julian Champagnie, and no knock against these guys, Jared Butler, Jules Bernard, they just looked more advanced than him. Yeah. And their games are translating to the NBA game, and they're able to score and get buckets and get to the basket and score. And Johnny's just having a tough time to even do some of the things that those guys are going out there and doing. But yeah, just overall from a game standpoint, I thought they played hard in the first quarter and a half, and then it got blown open pretty early. Like I said, when Corey started off really hot, Jordan Poole made some shots. Champagnie hit that half court shot. It looked like they were putting up a fight, and then they just ran out of gas. Jalen Green went crazy, hit that crazy layup, the acrobatic layup. Arsar Thompson with 25 and 10. He had a couple of wide open dunks and alley-oop. He was rebounding. Jabari Smith Jr. with a double-double, 18 and 14. Van Vliet with 11 assists. Jeff Green, old man Jeff Green from Georgetown, came out there, got a couple buckets, 12 points. And it just got ugly real fast. They just, like you said, they don't have the manpower. They just don't have the talent to match any team really in the NBA at this point. Maybe the Pistons, and that's about it. When you have Denny out, Bilal out for the season, Kuz out, Tyus, Landry, and even with those guys, they were getting blown out some games. So it's just like if they were getting blown out with those guys healthy, then imagine how it's going to be without them. But like you said, good effort from Pat Baldwin, 12 points. You saw flashes of development, which is what you want to see at this point in the season. Pat Baldwin with 12. Kispert hit a couple shots in that first half. And Rashawn Holmes has been playing hard, 12 points, 9 boards. He would have had if it was a competitive game, he would have had a double-double. And Champagnie's looking good, man. A putback dunk, a half-court shot, getting to the basket, knocking down threes. I love what we're getting from him, man. He was on a 10-day contract, because I was disappointed because they let go of Trey Jameson, the guy for the Grizzlies who had 26 points against us. I was like, man, we let him walk, but it's like at least they kept Champagnie, and they're getting some good minutes out of him right now, and they definitely should bring him back next year, and give him some playing time next year too. Jared Butler once again, 15.9 assists, had a solid game. He did take a lot of tough shots into the basket, but it's kind of like, who else is going to shoot? And Jules Bernard, 16 points, 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. I thought he played pretty well tonight too. Had a couple transition buckets as well. So I like from the most part, I like what I saw. And then I'll give Anthony Gill some credit too. He had a nice shooting night in the beginning. We hit 2 threes, 12 points, 8 boards. So I mean, the end result was what I expected. But I love what I saw from Champagnie. I like what I saw from Jared Butler, Jules Bernard, Pat Baldwin, a lot of young guys. I like what I saw.
Oh, I'm with you, man. Like you said, Champagnie and Jules Bernard, man, have continued to capitalize on playing time. I mean, this is what you want from Johnny. You want to see him capitalize when given playing time. And those two, they're capitalizing, man. Champagnie, I mean, he can play. I mean, Jules Bernard's got a heck of a shot on it. And Jared Butler, great night. Just, like I said, at times try to do too much. But as you said, I agree with you, is that, who else is going to step up? Sometimes you got to take those tough shots. Sometimes you got to be aggressive. And he was very aggressive. And, I like what, Jared Butler is another guy that I like to see next year. And because, look, we're rebuilding. So give these young guys some playing time. I think that Champagnie and Jules Bernard have both earned the right to come back next year and definitely see what they can do with extended playing time, man. Because overall, they've been very consistent, whether it's with the Wizards or with the Go-Go's. So, I mean, you saw glimpses from players, but you also saw the good, the bad, and the ugly tonight, man. Because Jordan Poole's got to work on the efficiency, man. He's got to work on that. And I'm gonna get off Johnny, man. It's unfortunate. So,
yeah. All right. We're gonna get a quick word by eBay Motors. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle. And level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. Then with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And also, you guys, as you know, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. Baseball fans, mark your calendars for March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today on March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be the first to get local insights from the MLB local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. All right, so a lot of guys have been listed out. Bilal's done for the season. Just want to get your thoughts on whether you see Kuzma suiting up again, Denny suiting up again, Tyus, Landry, any of these guys suiting up again. Do you think it's in the best interest for the Wizards to sit these guys and mail it in and say 1, 2, 3 Cancun and just let the young guys play, or do you think they should try to bring Kuzma back if he is healthy? Because there's they played 69 games. There's 13 games left.
Let them sit there. I mean, at this point, just let them sit, watch the game, man. I mean, right now, give the young guys an extended look. Champagnie, Jules Bernard, Johnny Davis, Jared Butler. Like I said, I mean, out of everybody sitting on the bench, Bilal, would be one guy that I would want to get playing time. But obviously, he's out for the rest of the year with the wrist injury. But it makes you scratch your head why we didn't move these guys for assets. Looking at Shamet, maybe Tyus Jones. Why didn't we move for assets? Because and looking at Kuzma, man, obviously you're sitting him to keep him healthy. Because look, chances are draft night they could package him with that 24th and get back into the lottery and get the lottery pick. So. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but yeah, I would just sit them, man. What's the point? I mean, yeah, you can argue that even when they're on the court, we're still a team that's challenging for the number one overall pick, but just give the young guys some playing time. And that's kind of where I'm at now, man. We'll see what we have in these young guys because we're going to rebuild. And a lot of these vets, if not all these vets, are probably going to be somewhere else next year. Let's be honest. So, I mean, you definitely got to see what you have in these young guys, especially Johnny Davis. Continue to give them minutes, see if they respond, but then that's the biggest thing with me is just you have to see what you have in these young guys so you can evaluate and move on, make the necessary transactions, go from there. But because don't get it twisted, we have a lot of tough decisions coming up this offseason. We still got to find a coach, man. You know what I mean? So we still got to make some moves as far as getting these veterans off. Because I know that Tyus he's a free agent, and I believe that Shamit is non-guaranteed. So really, the only vet we really have questions on is Kuzma, and I can see him definitely being dealt by draft night. But yeah, long answer, but yeah, I just let them sit. What's the point? At this point, let the young guys play.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of like what they did last year, where they just had Jordan Golden play, Quentin Jackson play, and I want to say Gafford, Corey Kispert. They just let that start. And then Johnny Davis, he was in the starting five too. They just let those guys play and rock out. And then the final game, they let Isaiah Todd play. So they just let all the young guys play and just give minutes. Kuz sat, Brad sat, Porzingis sat like the last 15, 20 games, and they knew they weren't going to make the play-in. They sat the solid 3 down.
Yeah.
And just let guys play. Like, to your point, I mean, yeah, and looking in hindsight, yeah, they should have just traded Tyus for the 5 second-round picks and just taking what they could have gotten, because now it's like they got to re-sign him and then do a sign-and trade. It's just things they got to do to move him, and you're not going to get any more than the 5 second-round picks. So they kind of missed their opportunity there because they wanted that first-round pick. Shamet, looks like nobody really wanted him. Kyle Kuzma, of course, the unofficial no-trade clause. So, yeah, it's just some things they could have taken advantage of that they didn't. These guys are just still on the roster. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. But as far as Johnny, again, I see some comments about him. We're going to get to him for sure. Just let him play, and they may waive him in the offseason.
Yeah. Same
thing with like what happened with James Bouknight. Kai Jones is actually signed by the Sixers. He was waived by the Hornets, and he was signed by the Sixers. You just have to realize that the previous regime, Tommy Shepard, he made a mistake in drafting Johnny Davis, and his confidence is just shot right now. And, you can just fill up. Honestly, his roster spot can just be filled up by some. And I hate to say this so much. I really do. Vucevic, bring him in, let him play, let Giallo play.
Yeah.
There's just some guys right now that probably would come in and just be more impactful. And I hate to say I hate to give up on players in their year 1 or year 2, but he's just not in their plans. He's just not in their plans. It's kind of like Sam Howell, Adam Peters, and the GM. He is the GM. Dan Quinn. He's just not. He just wasn't their guy. Now Sam Howell, I think if you want to compare, he's probably better than Johnny Davis. But I know it's 2 different sports, but I think you guys get my point where they didn't draft Sam Howell. So they moved on. They traded him. They're going to draft a quarterback. This year they didn't draft Johnny Davis. They have no ties to him. They're going to draft another guard, forward, whoever. They're going to bring in more guys. So I just don't see the roster spot for him at this point. When you got Pat Baldwin playing better than him, Jules Bernard, Champagnie, Butler, just a lot of guys coming in and just are more advanced than him at this point from the G League.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, and to your point, Sam Howell probably has a better jump shot.
Possibly.
Because sometimes watching that jumper, it hurts my confidence, man. I mean, it's really sad to say it, man, because you don't want to see any, I'm a big advocate for everybody on the roster, man. And even, guys on other teams. I want to see people succeed. But it is what it is at this point. I mean, he's been given minutes. He's been given everything. He's got to capitalize, man. And so I'm hoping he shuts me up, goes out here and scores 20 points. I hope so. But, I mean, looking at the body of work, it's just he doesn't look like an NBA player. You got guys like Jules Bernard and Justin Champagnie coming there and automatically dropping 10, 15 points. You just see a clear talent gap. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Vucevic is another young guy I like to see. I believe he is on U.S. soil, but they're saying he's not ready. I don't, get a man a towel, a uniform, and Gatorade, and there you go. I don't know what else he needs to get ready, but it's just, I think we eventually see Vucevic, but the second half of the year, man, it needs to go towards player development and see what you have in these young guys, man. So let them sit, because I looked at the comment and he had me laughing for like 5 minutes. Talking about Kyle Kuzma looking like a registered nurse on the sideline. So, just let them sit, man. But we're going to get into comments. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Nissan. So Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. So there are 3 good options, man. The 2024 Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, and the Nissan Armada. I talk about the Pathfinder all the time, so we're going to roll with the Armada tonight. So the 2024 Nissan Armada will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 people in first-class luxury and style. Ooh. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. So take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. All right. Got a lot of comments tonight. Got 30 people in here, so definitely appreciate everybody rocking with us after the game.
Yes,
all right.
Guess we'll start from the top. Greenville says, lots on Wizards. I'm a Rockets fan. I'm a Rockets fan. Stopping by since I'm in DC for the game. It's a shootout. LOL. I wanted to ask who's number 1 on your team. Is he a fan or a legit player? Because he looks so bad. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are coming for Johnny, and tonight we're just being honest and basically having a reflection on what's going to happen in his future here. He is a player. He was the 10th pick of the draft, and he was the Big Ten Player of the Year. Had a great college year, but a lot of those things just don't matter when you get to the NBA. A lot of things that work in college don't work in the NBA, and that's just kind of the case for him. His shot is broken. I don't know if we'll blame the coaching staff for that. He's had multiple jump shot releases since he's been here, and Tommy Shepard said he would be a point guard. So a lot of things just have kind of messed with his mental. I don't want to make any excuses for him either, but it just hasn't. He's even struggled in the summer league. Yeah. Even in the summer league, he struggled to score and get baskets. So it's been unfortunate for him, and I just think this I think it would be best for them to part ways and get a fresh start somewhere else. It may not even be in the NBA at this point. But he is a player. He was the 10th pick of the draft for the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, I kind of echo what you're saying, man. It's unfortunate, but this is a results-based industry, man. You got to perform. Mm-hmm. You're a professional basketball player, and while we want to see him succeed, we also need results, man. We call it like it is. It's kind of like UPS. Your job is to deliver packages, man. I mean, if you leave them around the corner somewhere else, man, you ain't got a job. I mean, he's got a job to do. When given minutes, he's got to perform, and he hasn't been. And he just looks like, he's not ready for the NBA. Because you're looking at guys who are on 10-day contracts, 2-way contracts, go-go players, and they come up there and they're performing well. So, I mean, I don't really have any more excuses left for Johnny, man. I mean, when you see a Jules Bernard come up, who's been a go-go player, come up and play the way he's been playing, it's really not, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with Johnny, man. I'm hoping he figures it out within the next 13 games. But at this point, man, look, he might as well, he might end up in daggone Kazakhstan, all we know, man. I mean, right now, he doesn't look like an NBA player.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah. When you have guys that have, like you said, Jules Bernard, Champagny, Pat Bowen Jr., they're just more impactful than him. It's unfortunate. And then speaking of the Big Ten Player of the Year thing, because I know Chris Miller said that Johnny looked like the Big Ten Player of the Year that he was in this game. He said that in the beginning. And but just looking at the Big Ten Player of the Year, look at the history of it. And it's really intriguing, like how these guys they don't live up to the hype in the NBA, or they don't really reach their potential. I mean, Cassius Winston is a guy that we drafted. He was the Big Ten Player of the Year. He's not in the NBA anymore. Luka Garza is more of a bench G League player. Caleb Swanigan. I want to say Caleb Swanigan. I know he's not in the NBA anymore. I
believe he passed away.
Yeah, man. He passed away. Yeah, it's crazy. Caleb Swanigan, not even alive anymore. Rest in peace. My condolences. Frank Kaminsky never turned out to be a great NBA player. Nick Stauskas from Michigan. Trey Burke from Michigan was a solid player, more of a backup. Draymond Green is like the only Big Ten Player of the Year. Jawan Johnson from Purdue. I don't know what he's doing right now. Evan Turner, he never really turned out to be he was okay, but he's a coach now. Kalen Lucas, DJ White, Orlando Tucker, Terrence Dialls, D. Brown from Illinois, Devin Harris from Wisconsin. So, I mean, the list goes on. Jared Jeffries, the Wizards player that we drafted. So, it's kind of like, do not draft the Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah, stay away. Because I mean, the track record just ain't looking too good,
It's
man.
really bad.
I mean, Big Ten has always been, a football conference, man. I mean, none against guys coming out of the Big Ten because there's talent coming out of it, but it seems more of like a football conference, in my opinion. But yeah, very unfortunate. Let's see. Greenville also said, I'm sorry about Bilal Coulibaly getting hurt. Just know y'all finally got one with him. I agree. Got to be the best Wizards rookie since Bill or Otto Porter Jr., which, shout out to Otto Porter Jr. just retired. So him and Eamon are future stars.
Right.
I mean, yeah, Eamon look good, man. And I'm with you, man. I kind of get them mixed up between Eamon and Alsar, man. Like I got to remind myself who plays on which team. But yeah, I mean, he looked good tonight. I definitely he had a really good game for Houston. But Bilal, he's very raw, but you see the potential. So I'm with you on that. Bilal Coulibaly, I definitely believe we hit with that pick. It's going to take time to develop him, especially offensively, but I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, Bilal has a bright future. He just got to get in the weight room, work on ball handling, work on the three-pointer. But I thought he had a solid start this year. There was some stat where him and Victor were the only guys to have a bunch of steals, a bunch of blocks as rookies. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Yeah, the only rookies this season with at least 40 blocks, 50 steals, and 63 pointers made were Bilal Coulibaly and Victor Wembanyama. Of course, they were teammates with the Metropolitan 96ers or whatever the name was. So he's in a good group. I mean, whenever you're in a group with Victor, his former teammate, that's a good group. So, not only did he have some good moments offensively, some really good moments defensively, showed off the athleticism, alley-oop dunks, put-back dunks, and whatnot. But we do want to see him improve offensively. And we knew coming in with Bilal that, he's super young, super green, a lot of things to work on, ball handling, a bunch of stuff. But Will Dawkins said they're not going to take any shortcuts. So it just depends on the developmental team. But he's a guy that wants to learn. He's willing to learn. And he's had some really good games. So I'm optimistic about Bilal for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, offensively, he has some things to work on, but defensively, I mean, that's good company to be in, man. So definitely intrigued to see what he can do as far as his development and how good he can be. Couple of funny comments real quick, man, by Sheldon T. Both of them had me laughing. And I told E both of them, man. I started out with Jalen Green petitioning to play the Wizards 82 games this season. And he's the one that came up with a joke. Kuzma on the bench dressed like a registered nurse. So yeah, there's a couple of funny ones, man. Let's see. I guess Edian says Butler 5 for 15. He needs to pass the ball more instead of ISO. I don't think it was so much ISO. I think that he was trying to make plays and he was very aggressive. But overall, I like what I see from Jared Butler. And he's another one of those guys where we don't talk about him enough. I think he definitely has earned playing time next year, in my opinion. He's definitely, in my opinion, could be a really good backup point guard for this team because look at his numbers. I mean, he's done really well. He really has. So.
Yeah, he has. And he definitely should be on the team next year. The guy in their G League developmental program, seeing the guy play well. So it's always good to see that happen. So I'm happy about that. Plain opposites on the brighter side, it was a balanced attack tonight with 8 players in double figures. It was good to see them share the ball as they spread the floor. So yeah, that's one positive thing to look at. Didn't suit up a lot of guys. Only 9 guys suited up tonight, and yeah, they did share the ball, and a couple guys played well and showed that they belong in the league for sure, like Champagny and Butler and Pat Ball and guys like that. He also says, where's Tristan Vucevic when you need him? So, yeah, I hope he plays, man. There's only 12 games left. So, yeah, 58 plus 11 is 69. So, 13 games left. He needs to play in every game. He needs to play 30 minutes next game. Just let him play. Don't hold these guys back. This should be in like just like a last 10 games, last 13 games, just let the young guys rock out as much as possible.
Yeah, they had me laughing, man, because a report came out about Vucevic where it was talking about, well, he's still getting ready to play. It's like, man, come on, man, get on the court. Let's go. Let's get this thing rocking, man. But I think we will get a look at Vucevic. But, yeah, I see a lot of comments from Johnny Davis, man. Vax says, I love Johnny Davis because I'm a huge Badger fan. But, oh, my, he is different. He can't score, and his form is different every game. And I don't know how he took such a step down from the Badgers. I mean, I at this point, I don't even know who to blame. I mean, his jump shot has changed 7 times. I mean, to me, it all started in the beginning, right? When Tommy says they're trying to turn him into a point guard, it's like, Tommy, no, man. Like, he's not a point guard. He's a 2 guard. He's a scorer. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's a mid-range guy. And I still think there's a place in the modern NBA for a mid-range shooter. I mean, DeMar DeRozan is still putting up numbers. So, there's still a place for mid-range guys. It's just, I mean, I've been to shoot-arounds. He's put in the work. I just, once you get on the court, as far as the NBA court, I don't know if it's mental. I don't know what it is, man, but it's just he's a totally different player because there was a span, you remember, that he was dropping some serious numbers down in the G League with the go-go. And you saw that potential where, his footwork, spinning in, attacking the rim. But once he gets on the NBA court, it's just a totally different player. So I don't know where you go from here with him, but it's starting to seem more and more that the best option is to part ways. So,
yeah. And he's like a lot of people say, he's a nice guy. He works hard. There's nothing against his work ethic. He works hard. He has a high motor and plays hard, but his game just has the mid-range game. That's really his best shot is the mid-range game. You look at the Wisconsin tape, he took a lot of tough shots, and they really relied on him to take those tough shots. And here it's just not the case where you got to be able to knock down a three. You got to be able to space the floor. You got to separate. Got to be able to get to the basket and do other things offensively, put the ball on the floor. He just hasn't been able to do that. But we do see a couple comments. Some people are saying Johnny Davis, Shanghai Shark. There's a couple crazy comments in here. Shugs B says next drinking game. Every time Johnny Davis gets 20 minutes of the game, score single digits, take 4 shots. So Shugs B always has something funny to say. He said, "It's talking about Commanders now." He said, "Holy smoke, we broke A." He thinks he's on Commanders. I was just making a comparison. That's all. It might have been a terrible comparison, but I think you guys get where I was going with it. But we're gonna wrap it up there. And all the comments we didn't get to, we're going to talk about them tomorrow night and answer. Gong Dong Tigers. And there was Inside the NBA with Shaq. They're like who he played for. And then the joke is like the Gong Dong Tigers. But we're going to get to more comments tomorrow night and then preview the next team they play. Who do they play on?
Sacramento.
Thursday night? Sacramento Kings. So that should be an up and down game. That should be a fun game. So we want to thank you guys for listening and rocking with us this whole season. Of course, a couple more games to go. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.